Welcome, friend. I'm so glad you're here. Before we begin, I invite you to take a moment and leave a comment. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is. Whether it's midnight in the city or dawn on a quiet coast, you're in good company. Tonight, I'll be guiding you through a story. It's soft, slow, like a memory floating on the wind. We'll step into the quiet rhythms of a life lived behind walls. The life of a young woman in the palace harem, a place of intricate tiles, sweet perfumes, whispered secrets, and golden sunlight that never quite reaches the soul. This is a fictional story, gently told. You don't need to follow every name or detail. Just listen. Let your mind drift. Let your breath soften. You are safe here. Now settle in and allow the hush of another world to unfold around you. Let's begin. In the heart of all Istanbul, under the rule of the Ottoman Empire, a palace stretches across the hillside like a jewel set in marble. It is grand, silent, and guarded, its golden domes catching the sun before it touches the rest of the city. Behind its walls lies another world. It's morning in a quiet wing of the palace, where a teenage girl sits cross-legged on her plush narrow mattress, her fingers weaving slowly through her long, dark hair. The morning light pours in through tall, arched windows, softened by layers of carved lattice. It gilds the room in warmth and honey, lighting her skin with a quiet glow. Each braid is careful, deliberate. Her body remembers the motions taught by her mother. She used to sit outside her family's home, braiding like this under an open sky. But there is no open sky here, only carved ceilings and domed windows that hold the light, but never the wind. Her mind drifts to her village, the warmth of smoke from the bread oven, the call of her father's voice, her mother's hand on her shoulder. She will never see them again. She knows that now. Around her, the chamber stirs. Soft snores, whispered greetings, the rustle of fabrics being folded. They live closely here, dozens of women sharing rows of neat sleeping spaces, low beds lined up like petals in a flower, each with its own faint scent of rose water or musk. They are slaves in the abode of felicity, named as such, because women wanted for nothing except their liberty. Only a few are ever given the luxury of their own rooms, usually the ones who were favoured by the Sultan and provided him a son. The palace itself is enormous, marble hallways, gilded arches, quiet courtyards where light dances on stone. But for the women who live inside it, the vastness feels small, a velvet cage, beautiful, but closed. The fountain outside trickles softly, carrying with it the scent of jasmine and warm bread. Another day is beginning. In the shaded courtyard is heavy with the scent of rosewater and cardamom. A gentle breeze filters through carved stone latticework, just enough to stir the silken veils draped across shoulders and trays. Somewhere nearby, a fountain murmurs softly, its rhythm barely louder than the clink of porcelain against silver. Breakfast arrives on brass platters, each one arranged with ceremony. Clay bowls of thick yogurt dusted with saffron, warm flatbread still pliant from the oven, its surface blistered and golden, honeyed figs and jewel-bright pomegranate seeds, arranged in careful spirals. A spoonful of rose jam melts lazily into hot black tea, the steam curling up like perfume. The women gather in quiet clusters, their caftans embroidered with tulips and pomegranates in threads of copper and garnet. They sit on cushions shaded by slender cypress trees, their movements slow, measured. From a distance it might seem serene, but within the hush lives something sharper. No voices are raised, no names spoken aloud, and yet questions float between them like threads of smoke. Who was summoned last night? Who might already be carrying royal blood? One girl, younger than the rest, chews absently on a piece of bread. She stares beyond the courtyard wall, where light falls golden on the patterned stone. Her hands are clean, but her fingers twitch slightly. Perhaps she imagines what it would be like to be chosen, or not to be. Behind the rose jam and polished brass lies a language of glances and gestures, a shift in seating, a bowl of quince preserves set just a few inches closer to the inner circle. Another, arriving late, finds her tea already cooling. The sweetness of the morning lingers, but for many, it cuts something hollow. They taste indulgence on their tongues while hunger coils quietly in their chests, not for food, but for something far more dangerous, to be noticed. Some rise slightly higher in rank with a single night, others vanish into routine, and still the food is exquisite, satiating, indulgent, and yet underneath it all a quiet ache hums beneath their ribs. The palace feeds them everything but freedom. Their bellies are full, but they hunger to be seen, to matter, to rise. It lingers, unspoken. The hush of midday settles over the harem like fine dust. The morning's brightness softens behind carved screens, and the women return to their chambers or gather in shaded salons. Time stretches here, not quite idle, never quite free. They thread gold into silk. Embroidery lessons begin with the rustle of fabric and the whisper of silk sliding through fingers. Bent over tambour frames, the women sew in near silence, only the soft clink of needles and the creak of wooden hoops breaking the quiet. The patterns are intricate, blooming gardens, swirling calligraphy, starbursts of colour stitched with painstaking care. These creations will be sold in the markets beyond the harem walls, a hidden economy spun from their patience. Elsewhere, voices rise in gentle unison. Singing lessons drift like jasmine smoke through the stone halls. The older girls hum softly, correcting the younger ones with a tilt of the head or a raised brow. The harmonies are ancient. Persian lullabies, Arabic poetry, Ottoman hymns, and the echoes settle like incense into the corners of the palace. Reading and calligraphy fill the afternoon hours. Fingers stained faintly with ink, the women trace an elegant Arabic script on parchment. The books are sacred and rare, religious verses, epic poetry, histories of rulers and holy figures. Nowhere else in the empire do women read so widely or so well. This knowledge becomes a quiet power, and yet the women are forbidden to write their own thoughts or feelings themselves. No journals, no letters, no records of thought or longing. Their own stories are forbidden, erased. They exist only in memory and in rumour. Some form fragile bonds over shared stanzas or favourite tales. Others memorise lines not for meaning, but for how they sound when murmured in the Sultan's presence. To be sharp is dangerous, but to be seen as both beautiful and clever, that is currency. Each woman has come here by a different path, a gift from a governor, a tribute from a far-flung pasha, a girl taken from a village in the Caucasus or the Balkans, renamed and reclothed. Their pasts vanish with their names. Lila, Tulip, they might be called, or Feride, unique. Names chosen to please, to tame, to remake, and so they watch. A glance over a shoulder at a rival's stitches, a raised eyebrow when a favoured girl sings just slightly out of tune, a knowing smile passed behind a book, flashes of jealousy, flickers of joy, each woman balancing the sharp edge of competition with the need for alliance. In the stillness of silk and scripture, they are preparing, always preparing. By midday, the palace turns inward. The light, once golden and eager, now hangs heavy. Slanting through lattice windows in long, drowsy beams, it catches on the dust in the air, gilding it like threads of silk spun from the sun itself. Shadows stretch across tiled floors, slow and unhurried. In the hush of a shared chamber, women rest on soft cushions nestled into alcoves and beneath high windows. The heat softens everything, bodies, thoughts, time itself. Silence isn't imposed here. It simply arrives like a veil draping over the room. A woman stares upward, her mind drifting to a river she once knew, cold and fast and full of light. Another, curled on her side, presses a blank letter to her chest. She's written it in her mind 100 times, but there's no place to send it, and no one would read it if it were. Longing swells beneath the stillness. No one speaks of missing home, of parents or fields or songs carried on wind. But it's there, in the way fingers idly braid the edge of a cushion, in the eyes that stay open long after they should have closed. Even the joy of motherhood carries an edge here. A child born in these walls may be marked from birth, for privilege or for peril. A son might be dressed in silk today and sentenced to death tomorrow. Love and fear curl together, inseparable. When rest gives way to the rhythms of the afternoon, the women drift into the courtyard. Sunlight pulls across the stones, bright but softened by the latticework that cages it. The Queen Mother passes by, and the mood shifts, air taut with attention. Heads bow, glances flicker. No words are spoken, but much is said. A eunuch approaches, his steps deliberate, delivering a folded message into waiting hands. The chosen woman doesn't smile. She doesn't need to. Nearby, someone is asked to sing. Her voice rises, measured, clear, restrained. A selection that carries weight, noticed by all. Not far from her, another woman shifts slightly in her seat, repositioning herself just so, closer to the center of things. It's not bold. It's calculated and noticed. One girl, not long ago, let laughter escape too freely in the Queen Mother's presence. She was reassigned before dawn, her silks replaced with plainer cloth. Another once gave up her cushion without being asked. Days later, she was seen walking close behind a favoured attendant, eyes lowered, but lips curved in knowing stillness. In this place, survival is quiet. A single pomegranate seed offered to the right woman, a gift of dates wrapped in embroidered cloth, a whisper of admiration, just loud enough to be overheard. Everything is performance, grace in motion, a game where softness is strategy and silence, power. The palace breathes differently in the late afternoon. Light pours in through tall lattice windows, golden and drowsy, pooling across patterned tiles and flickering on the water of the courtyard fountain. The air is thick with the scent of rose oil and sandalwood, softened by the distant murmur of a lute. In private alcoves and sun-warmed corridors, the women retreat into small pleasures. Baths are drawn, cool and perfumed, steeped with orange blossom. Water laps quietly as limbs stretch, eyes close, and the world becomes no larger than the echo of a breath in the bathhouse. Ivory combs glide through freshly washed hair. Fingers knead shoulders, tracing away the tension of unseen rivalries. A kitten sprawls, belly up in a patch of light. On velvet cushions, one woman braids another's hair with quiet precision, while two more exchange verses of poetry they must never write down. Their thoughts, like their names before, do not belong to them anymore. Near the balcony, a mother watches her young son roll a carved wooden lion across the floor. She speaks to him in the tongue of her childhood, soothing, rhythmic, nearly forgotten. She teaches him to walk tall, to speak with calm conviction. She kisses his brow with a quiet ache, for she knows the truth they will never say aloud. One day, this small boy may be called to kill his brothers. Here, even motherhood is a preparation for war. Her love must be fierce enough to outlast fate. Somewhere nearby, a woman weeps silently into the folds of her caftan. No one asks why. Sorrow is part of the air here, like perfume, like prayer. Then the rhythm shifts. Without announcement, a eunuch enters, eyes lower. A hand touches her shoulder. 4 women are selected. There is no ceremony, no trumpet, just a change in posture, a glint in someone's eye, the subtle withdrawal of others. The chosen women are led to the baths once more, crushed pearls stirred into steaming water, hair removed with shell and paste, skin buffed smooth until it glows, Silence is observed, not for peace, but because every sound now matters. Robes are laid out, silk so fine it slides like breath across the skin. One chooses a pale lilac, another deep carnelian. Each colour whispers something: softness, boldness, purity, mystery. Older women watch closely, offering quiet nods, a brief squeeze of the hand. Their eyes say what cannot be said aloud: be careful, be captivating. Elsewhere, those not chosen sip sweet tea and peel almonds. They talk of stories, fictional perhaps, but laced with knowing. The air is lighter for them, but beneath the stories is always the same truth. Attention is a gift wrapped in glass. One slip, and it cuts. And so, as the sun sets behind the domes of the palace, the air is thick with perfume, tension, and quiet watching. The four women shimmer like stars, visible, envied, vulnerable. Favour is fleeting, beauty is currency. And in this world, both must be carried carefully, like a bowl filled to the brim, balanced on a single palm. The palace has quieted. Even the fountains murmur more softly now. Moonlight slips, like silver, across mosaic floors and curls into corners of velvet-draped chambers. The air is cool and still. Somewhere, a ney flute plays, barely audible, as if even the music knows not to speak too loudly. A woman lies awake, eyes open in the dark, listening for footsteps that never come. She is hoping. Another lies rigid beneath silk covers, dreading the sound of her name. Some dream of power, how to gain it, hold it, wear it lightly. Others dream only of escape, of green fields, or a mother's lap, or the feel of cold river water on their skin. One woman strokes her belly, not visibly changed yet, but enough for her to wonder. If someone notices soon, her life may shift forever. And somewhere behind carved wooden doors, the chosen one lies in silence, whether from pleasure, fear, or calculation, no one knows. But in the morning, she may receive a sign, a plate of honeyed bread, a soft pink rose, a gesture that says, "You are remembered." The palace is still now, 1,000 dreams breathing through its stone walls. This world is quiet now, the lamps are low, the palace sleeps. You've witnessed a single day, a single rhythm, in a world gilded with beauty, but heavy with silence. Here, even in golden cages, women find small freedoms, a secret poem, a shared glance, the memory of a shoreline, the softness of a child's hair. And so, wherever you are tonight, may your breath be steady, your sleep deep, your dreams free. If you're still awake, leave a comment below. What time in history would you wish to wander through? Good night.